Hello, everybody, and welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I am your host, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. Joining me in Studio B, depending if you live in the north or the south, from Missouri or Missouri, is the beautiful Krista Tweedy, my co-host. We have a great show. Anthony, Mike, Long Island Mike, Anthony from Unidentified S4 going to be on to talk about their Bigfoot encounter, the Bigfoot research they've been doing. I think a few months ago, a couple weeks ago. We'll get into that. If this is your first time here, please subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube. Subscribe to Texas Front Porch on YouTube. Subscribe to the Blondes and Blues Paranormal YouTube. And as well, you know what? And also with our guest tonight, Unidentified S4, subscribe to him. Subscribe to Long Island Mike, all on YouTube. You can find us again on YouTube. You can also find us on iHeartRadio, Odyssey Radio, wherever podcasts are found. You can also find us on KPNL Radio. Thank you to the lovely Aunt Selene out in Oregon for that. If you enjoy our content and want to help support the channels, the Super Chat is open. Yes, the Super Chat is open if you care to donate. Thank you for that. Long after the show ends, the Super Thanks is open. That's another source provided by YouTube for our archives, if you care to. Please check out our About pages on Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Texas Front Porch to find out about all scheduled activities that we have going on. And speaking about our activities, there's a couple things that I got to go over really briefly. I'll bring up the lovely Krista in a moment. In fact, I'll bring up Krista. She can, Krista, too, you're ready. A couple things I got to go over really quickly, everybody. It's regarding the channels. We still have the same schedule for the most part. I'm going to go over that. We no longer stream on all the platforms. As an example, if you're a fan of Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, or Beyond BMR, you have to subscribe to my channel and watch it on my channel. Same with Texas Front Porch. Same with the Blondes and Booze. YouTube doesn't like. It's a copyright thing. I'm not getting into it. It's something YouTube has told us we can't no longer do. So you must subscribe and check out our channels. For example, Mondays is Texas Front Porch at 9 in the East. Subscribe to Texas Front Porch. That's where you'll find Tex 9 o'clock in the East. Subscribe to Van Buren Variety. He's his own separate entity. He's on Tuesday. He's at 8 in the East. Beyond BMR. It's on Tuesday, 9 in the East. Again, you won't find me on Text. You'll find me right here on my channel, Bigfoot Michigan Rob. Jason McLean does something on Mysterious Library and Radio, Untold Radio AM. You can find him 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, something different going on. Jason McLean no longer is doing the live Wednesday night show. Now, Jason McLean on YouTube, subscribe, will be doing something, a different format. He'll be putting out material, 2 or 3 short videos per week with him and Donnie Cho. So you can find Jason at Jason McLean Questions Everything on YouTube, and they will be putting out videos. So Jason will probably do 1 live show a week. Just keep posted. We'll keep you posted for that. But I got to say this, Wednesday at 10 o'clock in the East, again, this will be found on Texas Front Porch. Our newest member, Danielle Diva, the Diva Dimension, 10 in the East, starting next Wednesday on Texas Front Porch. The Diva Dimension, Danielle Diva, 10 in the East. Welcome the Diva aboard our group. Thursdays, Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, 1 in the East, again on the Bigfoot Michigan Rob YouTube channel. This is easy because the Blondes and Booze, again, the Blondes and Booze YouTube channel. Now, you guys, I'm only going to do this for about 4 weeks because I'm. You guys are smart. You pick if we're having a show, you go to the channel. That's what I'm saying. I'll do this for the rest of June and into July. Just independent channels now, but we're all still partners together. The Blondes and Booze Thursdays. Subscribe 9 in the East. The Blondes and Booze and the Woo 9 o'clock in the East. So they're back to back Thursday, Friday. Go over to the Blondes and Booze because you're not going to find them on the porch. I can't wait to get done with this and everybody's on board.
Mhm.
Saturday is Infamous Minds on Texas Front Porch at 3 in the East with Danielle Diva. So again, long story short, subscribe to all the channels. Brunch and Beyond are on my channel. Tex and both the Diva shows on Texas. The Blondes are on the Blondes. Jason's doing his other thing. I'm McLean, and our buddy Van Buren Bobby. He does his variety show. So tune into the channels across the board. And I will say, Krista, the one thing that it does benefit though is our lovely people in chat
Mhm.
because
Yes.
like today, for example, if you want to talk to everybody in chat, you'd have to go on Texas show,
Right.
go on Rob's show, go on your show.
Flip
Now
back and forth.
yes, flip back and forth, and and people started doing that. Thank you for supporting us in that effort.
Yeah.
But now we're going to be consolidated. So everybody at Brunch with Bigfoot, Mr. Rob, consolidated to this chat room, so on and so forth. That's a mouthful, and I
Yep.
hate to start a show 11 minutes talking about things that have been said to us because of the YouTube parameters, but we got to do what they tell us. Otherwise, well, you'll never see our pretty faces
Yep.
6 days a week.
Show times are still the same, but just make
Show
sure
times are the same. Yes.
that you hit the notification, the bells, so you can get notified of when we
Yes.
are.
Again, thank you for that, Chris. The alert bells, make sure they're on. YouTube shuts them off. Sometimes YouTube will even
Take you
unsubscribe you.
subscribe. Yeah.
So make sure you're subscribed. And
Mhm.
again, I'll go through it one more time, and I'll do this at the end at the break. Subscribe to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast, Texas Front Porch, Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, Van Buren Variety for his variety show. Jason McLean questions everything. Again, he's a video show now. Give Jason some love.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of it. So it's kind of confusing, but you guys are smart people in chat. We all know that. We all love you. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. And I appreciate it. And of course, subscribe to Unidentified S4 in Long Island Mike
Mhm.
Bigfoot's channel. And you know what? Enough of that. I want to get into the show. So I'm going to bring up Anthony and Mike. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go Anthony. Hi, Anthony. And Mike, Long Island Mike. There they are. Thank you for joining the
Thank you.
show today.
Thank you for having us. Pleasure to be here, man. Good to see you.
Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, man, because I had yeah, I said, you know what? I was falling behind on a lot of my scheduling because I got so much going on. I said, man, Anthony had and then he went out doing some Bigfoot researching, looking for Bigfoot, and Mike, Lib, Long Island Mike. So I said, yeah, I'm going to call him really quick, see if he's available. And you're like, yeah, Rob, I'll come on. So I do appreciate with the short notice
Mhm.
you and Mike and everyone give props to Mike. He just got from the dentist. He might be a little quiet today. I think he's still got Novocaine running through his system. So thank you too, Mike, for popping on.
How you feeling, Mike? You feeling okay, buddy?
I had 5 people, but I'll power through.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Mike, because you were part of this, and it certainly wouldn't have been the same without you, with you and Anthony. And I got some, and Anthony sent me some cool pictures with you both, you guys, which I'll show a little later in the show. So once again, Mike and Anthony, thanks for joining us. So we'll just get on with it. So first of all, again, thanks for joining. And if Lily Pond, if you can drop, Lily Pond's already dropping your guys' links. I
Yeah,
love you, Lily.
great.
Okay, man.
Lily's awesome. So let's just before we get into it, both you guys, Anthony, I'll start with you. What was your thoughts about Bigfoot moving forward? I know you're a big UFO guy. Everybody subscribe again. Wonderful channel.
Thank you.
I know that you were into cryptids because you do. In fact, like most of us, you're evolving too. Now, Anthony, you're not just all S4, right? You're an UFO and alien. You now are dabbling, I've noticed, in cryptids. So what was your true thoughts about cryptids 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
As my partner co-host Andy Gambino would say, I was a want-to believer. You know, I wanted to believe that there was a bipedal animal walking out there that was massive. I really did. A couple of years ago, I was up in Pennsylvania, and I could have swore, like 4 o'clock in the morning, got up to cut wood in the winter, and I could have swore I heard 2 of them communicating back and forth with each other. And I'm familiar with the woods because we're up there multiple times a year at our cabin, and I never heard anything like that before. Aside from that, never seen one, never seen a proper track or anything like that. And then I had the opportunity to join UFO Expos camp in the UFO community, and I've been on tour and on circuit with them at all these different events. And the first one led us up to where were we? Pine Bush, up in the Catskills, New York. And I said, Mike, why don't you come with me on this? And while we're up there, I could do some Bigfoot research in between all the UFO events. And once I got out there in the bush with Mike, that's when my eyes opened up. And after what happened to us, that's when I became a full-blown believer.
Wow.
It took seeing to believe, so to speak.
Seeing to believe. I do have a couple of snapshots we'll get into. So for you, seeing was believing.
Yeah, for this particular animal, I had to I wanted to lay my eyes on it just to put to rest, Not that I didn't believe anybody's story. I believe people were seeing things. I just didn't know what exactly they were seeing.
Sure.
But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, there is. I'm going to call it an animal, an intelligent animal that's bipedal, that's over 9 foot tall, that walks the forest. There's no doubting that in my mind anymore. They're there.
You're a knower now.
Yeah, I'm a knower now, without a doubt.
And again, there's no, for what you just said is perfectly acceptable, because I tell you what, I told you pre-show that I saw Leonard Nimoy, I saw the Patterson Gimlin film when I was a young kid. I said, wow, that's pretty cool. Bigfoot, wow, does that exist? And I used the word, does that exist? And I wanted to believe it existed, just like you.
Yeah.
Because I was growing up, my dad brought me up on monster movies. I mean, the werewolf, Dracula, Frankenstein, the first three off the top of my head. And then I started getting into this Bigfoot thing a little bit. But again, it comes and goes, and then you go on about life. And I wanted to believe until I had my encounter in 2018. And I will tell you right now, I don't believe in Bigfoot. I know they exist. And even to this day, Anthony, Mike, and everyone listening, I still even question what I saw because of the strange encounter that I had, right? Mine looked like a humanoid standing at shore, then it manifested into something that looked like a demon, So for me, the mystery is still there. Until this day, I still seek answers. And that's why I find this topic so exciting. Mike, I know that you have limited capabilities in speaking. Were you always from the beginning a believer, or until you come across some of your evidence, did it make you a knower, or what's your thoughts on that right quick?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really, I don't know if I didn't believe that they were near me, that's for sure. I didn't have much understanding. I really didn't. I was going to go to the Pac West, you know what I mean? Because that's what I thought you had to do.
Yeah.
So I had this, I always had this intuition, it's got to be something more. It's got to be something more. For me, it was Nessie. That's what I was into. But I was always drawn to water. But I was into Loch Ness Monster. And then that kind of got was going through those debunking phases and the hoax crap, and kind of sucked the wind out of it for me. And then I guess maybe somehow I trickled into the Sasquatch. And I of course, I think when I had the full-on encounter, that was, obviously a game changer. It brought it to a whole new level. I'd love to tell you where I was at before that, but I can't even really remember. I can't remember if I was a believer or kind of a skeptic. I don't even really know. I think I just always knew that there was something more, and a believer that there had to be something more.
Well, I know that you guys did an outing together, and I'm going to get in a couple. Well, first we're going to start with. I'm going to put up something here. Just bear with me while I find a couple, because Anthony, you sent me some pictures, and now here we go. Here's two really happy guys right here. Get ready. I don't know if this is the beginning or the middle or the end of the trip, but there they are.
Yeah,
arm in arm, smiles on their Mike with a half-ass grin. Anthony, yeah, you got a little grin going on there. So tell me about this picture really quick before we get into? Was this where part of the trip was that on?
So I believe that was in the Catskills towards the end. We had
Okay.
woken up. That was the day before we were leaving. Mike decided to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go for what he calls blue hour
Mm.
expedition. You know, when the sun's not up yet, but everything's like still blue out. You know, and we took like an 8 mile trek, 4 miles in, 4 miles out, all
Mm.
uphill into the Catskill Mountains. Beautiful trail, and we filmed the whole way in, whole way out, and we kept hearing things out there, but we visually we couldn't see anything
No
because
visual, yeah.
yeah, all the overgrowth and everything like that. And when we got back to base camp and started really diving into the footage, we started noticing what could be Sasquatch behind the trees watching us, and right in these locations where we heard would sound like something would run up and stop, and you would sit there and literally look for like 10-15 minutes because you know you weren't going crazy. You know something ran up to that spot. You just didn't know what it was,
Yeah.
and nothing's there. And it wasn't until we kind of reviewed all the footage that we found a few frames that had what possibly could be,
Okay.
These animals.
Okay. Before we get too far into it, because I know that was a random picture, I just thought it was cool to put that
Yeah.
up. If you and Mike and Anthony, you guys can interact with each other about this. Can you like? I love a good story. I like a good. You guys went and on a research project essentially. So if you can walk us back from the beginning, middle, and end, kind of frame it out a little bit, and let us know like what you came across up
Sure.
until that epic encounter.
Yeah. So I took Mike with me when I went out to do UFO Expo up at Pine Bush, New York, in the Catskills. And I said, we're going to do some Bigfoot research. I really want to get up into the mountains, and I want you to come and be my guide because you're out there all the time. And if I'm going to take anybody, it's going to be you because you live close to me. We could get together and we could do this the right way. So Mike said to me, if we're going to go do this, I want you to bring your night vision. I want you to bring FLIR cameras. I want you to bring all your gear. So I said, all right, I'll gear everything up. We're going to go do this. So we got to the hotel, and that night I said to Mike, we're going out. He's like, really? Already? I'm like, we're going out. So we got everything ready. We got all our camera gear all prepped up, and we headed out. Mike we looked on the map for where, the highest activity would be. Mike found a spot up on the top of the Catskill Mountains, and we hit it. So we walked in on the trail, and then we got about 2 miles on that trail, and Mike had said, you know what, I doubt anything's gonna be on the trail. Let's trek out into the bush. So we got off the actual trail, and we started hiking miles into the bush. I'd say when we got about 2 miles or so into about mile and a half, mile and a quarter into the bush, we started noticing weird signs of things like tree structures, uh, trees that were literally ripped out of the ground with the root ball on them, like 7-inch diameter trees, where the root ball's now in the air and the tree, regular ball is like shoved into the ground. So we saw a lot of that. We saw a lot of TP structures. The ground situation where we were walking was like moss. It was like a soft, spongy moss with leaves on top of it. So when you would step on it, it would go down, about an inch, inch and a half. It was like literally walking on a green sponge. And then it was raised back up. But there was a lot of moisture under it, so your footprint would fill up with water. Trekking out about another mile, we come up to, I don't know if you want to call it a wide creek or a tight river, whatever you want to name. I don't know the correct terminology for what this was, but we come
I
up to
forget the name of it. Yeah,
like
it doesn't
a
matter.
water source, a
Yeah.
wide, maybe like a 10-foot wide creek or whatever. I'd say about 2.5, 3 foot deep. And Mike noticed a footprint that was like 17 and a half, maybe 18 inches. And you could see the front width of the footprint and then, the back where the heel was. And you knew these weren't human or a boot or anything because there was no.
Well, the first thing I did was step near it, right?
Right.
I tried to push all my weight into it, and I couldn't go down.
Right.
I couldn't go down at all, and this thing was like all the way down.
All the way down. I mean, the impression was deep. And then in front of that, maybe about 6 feet in a straight line, was the next one. And it almost cleared that whole waterway. And on the opposite side of that, there was a weird tree structure, like one's leaning up like this, and then there's a third one, and then there was like intertwined brush. But just the way the whole thing was constructed, I mean, it took time. Whatever did it took a lot of time and a lot of strength to carry those big trees to intertwine them like that, and they were like intertwined, like twisted. I mean, I never seen anything like that. Starting to get dark, and we really don't know where we are except for the GPS location. And if the GPS went out, because the Wi-Fi was in and out the whole time, we would have been screwed. So we decided to turn around and start coming back. When we start walking back is when we start hearing things behind us. Now you hear deer walking through the brush and other animals scattering, and when it's pitch black and you can't see your hand in front of your face, you're cautious about everything. So I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7, 10 minutes goes by, and a rock got thrown off to our side. I'm like, you hear that? And I say, I know I heard that. So now he's walking ahead and I'm walking backwards with my camera filming.
Mm-hmm.
And you start hearing little snaps and pops, sound like tree branches snapping. So I said, Mike, what the hell's going on? He's like, well, it could be a bear, could be a deer, I don't know. So I said, let's get the hell out of here. So we hightail it as fast as we can back to the road. And it sounds like whatever it was is advancing with us, like almost pushing us out of the area we're in.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, it felt like we were like, you get this, I got this feeling like we were, whatever it was around us everywhere. It was like coming from the right, coming from the left. So I took my night vision out of my vest and we stopped, and we're about 4 or 5 feet away from the road again. And I start filming with the night vision. And about 50 yards ahead of me is a black masked figure, like a human figure. At first, it's just a head on the ground, and I don't know what I'm looking at. And as I'm filming it, it stands up. And I say, Mike, I got one. He's like, what do you got? And I'm like, it's right there. It's right there. And when I tell you, I was shook. My hands were trembling. I knew that wasn't a bear that was ahead of me or anything I've ever seen before. The head was like 17 inches easy. It was massive. This thing had to be over 9 foot tall. Well, we measured it. It was like 9.5 foot tall. It was massive. And it was doing like peekaboo with the trees. And as I'm watching in the night vision, like the whole thing from start to finish is on the channel. I'm watching through the night vision, and after a few minutes go by, you see another one dart behind that one. And then a head even higher than the other one pops in there and then disappears. So it's walking out of frame. What we think happened was we stumbled to a location where maybe a male, female, and a juvenile were going to get water or going across that water source, and we interrupted that. And maybe they thought we were hunters or whatever. So I think the male tried to push us out away to get the female and the little one out of there. Just what I think. And that's what ended up happening. And while we're standing there filming, rocks are getting thrown. You kind of hear like the brush, like shh, like rustling really loud, the trees getting moved around, and like I'm terrified, literally terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And I panned the camera a little bit, and I said, where'd it go? I filmed it for like 7 minutes, and I panned around just a little bit, and it was gone. And I panned the whole entire area back and forth a couple of times. It's gone. Nothing's on night vision anymore. So as we wait a little while, we're filming, and as I'm walking out, I'm literally walking back to back with him because I was literally so afraid to turn around about face and walk out without looking behind me. And he's telling me, what are you doing? I'm like, do you know how massive that thing was that was in the woods? I have no gun on me. I have a little can of mace on me. I'm like, there's no way I'm turning around and I'm just going to walk out. It wasn't happening. And I'm a big guy. I'm like 270 pounds. I'm a big dude. I was physically shook. I was terrified. My insides were shaking. I was really, really frightened at what it was. Mm-hmm. And then I put the video up because I wanted to see what everybody else's opinion was. And since I had it up for the past couple of weeks, we got like over 5,000 views and a ton of positive feedback from it. But that was one of the most frightening and one of the most beautiful encounters all intertwined in one, really. And I've had some time to think about it now over the past couple of weeks. I don't think the animal would have hurt us at all. I think
they were everywhere.
Yeah,
that you were locked in with that. But if I was walking around him, like communicating with the rest of the tribe, like go easy, like please go easy. Mind you, we can't see this. We can't see this.
It was that dark, right?
Yeah. So I'm walking around in circles, kind of just like pleading with them not to do anything too,
Sorry.
like too
Let me-
harsh or whatever.
Right.
'Cause
I
We're
got
at
a
their
na-
disposal. We're at their disposal. We have.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely, you are definitely bottom of the food chain when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And it's pitch black, and you're picking this up, right, Anthony, with your equipment. And now, Mike, you're mentioning that you're communicating what you just mentioned.
Mhm.
Was there any response back? Did they try to verbalize any vocalization during this time, or did they throw a pine cone or rock your direction?
Yeah,
Did
they
you
threw
hear
a
them
couple.
physically walking?
Rocks. Yeah,
They
rocks.
threw a couple of rocks here and there. Rob, what I heard was what sounded like the alpha. I would guess came across the creek, and that's when everything stopped. You heard him come across the whole brush in 3 steps, like boom, boom, in the water, and this was like a 10-foot gap in the water and out of the water, and boom, it was like the whole thing just.
The whole atmosphere changed.
Everything changed. Everything was over, just like that. And then it was like, you know what I mean? And then he was like released, and he started talking to me again. You know what I mean? Because he was like locked in, like. And
Wow.
he was talking to me, but he was like locked in that experience. You know what I mean?
It's actually a photo in black and white I sent you. That's with a red circle around it. That's an image of the night vision shot of what we caught.
Let me look through this stuff really quick. It would be the night vision shot.
Yeah, it was black and white. Yeah, that. Now I know it's hard to look at because it's a still shot from a 720p Psionics, but that's the head and the upper torso of it, and in
Wow.
between it is a tree branch with that green
Okay.
blurry stuff. But that's what we were talking about. And at times you could see the arms, the head, the turning, the up, the down, and all of that. If you watch the video, which is on the channel, it's self-explanatory. When you're looking at it, you know
Right.
exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah, you sent me the video, and I looked at. Everybody's fantastic. I'm not with the predicament that we're in with our channels. I'm not going to put that on because I don't know if it's copyright stuff. I don't want to risk that. But everybody, again, subscribe to Tony's channel, Anthony and Mike. I'm sure you've got it. Subscribe to both the channels and look that up because I did view it half hour ago. It's awesome. It's awesome footage. Awesome footage. And
Wow.
now and I got another one. I'm gonna pull up another picture. We got so many. Oh, there's some pretty cool ones. And we'll do now this has got it. This is during the daytime.
Yeah. So now in my head, when we were there, I didn't see any of this. This was a down tree. And after the fact, I'm looking and I'm saying, well, this is exactly where we heard the noises. And when you look at this, I'm like, now we're zoomed in naturally. So, I mean, I don't know about the face coming out or whatever. But I mean, what does that look like to you? I mean, could it be?
I see a head and a shoulder on the one.
Yeah.
And the other one looks like a little bit smaller one. And I actually see a head, shoulder, and part of an arm on the one on the left.
Yeah, I mean,
or something smaller.
So I'm not going crazy. I mean, because everybody I've asked said the same thing so far.
And I get me and Chris. I tell you what, when it comes to pictures, I get so many pictures sent to me, and people ask Rob, "What do you think?" And 90% of the time, I say I don't know what it is because I'm just going to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
But when I see in this, I just see a distinct outline, man.
Yep.
I see a distinct outline.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And
There's something there.
Oh,
Now, did you happen to take this in like sessions of 3, or is it just?
There's multiple shots of this. There's in succession. I don't remember how many, 10, 15 shots altogether.
But mind you, I mean, I there was a lot going on with me on a personal level, right? But I do this all the time. So what I was doing was taking a huge back seat and trying to let him just kind of lead the way and go through it and let his journey unfold naturally. And like, I'm not trying to say too much or do too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Mike, I gotta say something. That's really cool of you because you do a lot of research with Bigfoot and Anthony, and that's cool how you just said you let him experience it because you've had So you're a cool dude.
Yeah,
thanks.
because like I don't ever want to like give too much of mine. You know what I mean? Put too much of me onto somebody too, and it, you know what I mean? Like, because also it's good for people to like experience things because it's another piece of the puzzle, and it's a different outlook on things. It's a different insight, and that should all unfold naturally, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So I never want to like kind of interrupt anyone's journey or experience.
Since you're before we, Anthony, I know you want to say this. I just got it before I forget. We'll ask you about this really quick, Mike. Lily Pond is asking, and I can't do this right now. Rob, ask Mike to will show you your
Wow.
pictures.
You remember that?
People. Oh,
Wow.
Lily Pond's got a photographic memory.
Wow. All right. That it's been a long time since I've shown that. Like a long time. Like I forgot about it. I had
to do that favor for Lily Pond because she is one of my best mods. She
gotta
does
give
all
me-
the links. She's so sweet.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Gotta give me a minute to find it. It's been a long time.
I'll tell you.
Nothing-
Sorry, you want to say something?
No, go ahead. No, I was just saying nothing against my other mods. You're all fantastic as well.
Right.
No, I was gonna say like after this adventure we had up in the Catskills, I dragged Mike in my producer's truck 15 hours away to Spruce Pine, North Carolina, you know, and I'm disabled and he's 100% disabled. And we're wedged in this truck with all our camera gear and two other guys for 15 hours. And we trekked all the way up in the mountains because that was it. I was hooked. I'm like, we're going on another adventure. We just came home. It was like 2 days later. I'm like, pack your bags. We're going again. He's like, what? I'm hooked. That's it. I'm hooked.
Hey, really quick, Anthony, Mike, Krista, you have to take over the controls for a minute because my lawn people are here and they want their money.
Uh-oh.
I'll be back. I'll be
No,
back.
we're
in a minute.
good. So my question real quick though to you guys. So when that happened, what was your first thoughts? I mean, what did you do? Did you go sit in your car and ponder it or I mean,
Well, when it happened, we were miles away from the car. When I say
He said the road when he said we got back to the road. It wasn't a road. It's a very wide trail.
Yeah.
Because it's like a preserve in the mountains. Like it's basically a preserve, and like it's a really interesting spot. Honestly, it's a really cool location. It's at the edge of a tiny one horse town, one stoplight town, and then it's like right at it's got a river, and then it goes up into the mountains. So it's the only water source.
okay.
And it's pitch black. So like I was like, as soon as I seen it, and I was like, oh, this is as good as gold. You know what I mean?
But
Wow.
but like, you know, once it happened, you know, we still had like an hour and 15 hour, 20-minute trek out. And I was back to back with him the whole way, and I was terrified. But when I initially saw this thing, the first thing that came to mind first was it's a bear standing up.
Mm-hmm.
That's initially what I thought. And then I said, this ain't a bear, after just watching the arm come up and move the tree out of its way. And it was no bear, you know what I mean? And then
Did it
watching
follow
it.
you the whole way out?
No, I thought it did. I thought
Okay.
it did. I think that once the other two, the little one and the other one it was with, got across the creek or whatever that was, I think it left with it, because then I totally lost track. I think it was just holding the trail we made, that we walked out on a game trail. I think once we got out of that area where they were, that big guy held the line there so we wouldn't advance or do anything to hurt the other two. And once the other two were across and safe, he just vanished. He was gone. It really wanted nothing. The whole time, very briefly, you see it looking at us. The whole time it's turned to its side and it's looking at the creek, the river, whatever you want to call it, while those other two are getting across. And I mean, for me, it felt like forever, but the video's only like, I don't know, 6.5, 7 minutes. But that felt like an eternity.
Sure. And really 6.5, 7 minutes, that really is a long time to get footage of it, you know?
I couldn't even verbalize. Like, if you watch the video, a lot of me is like, I can't even get words out of my mouth because that's what
I know, but I know in your mind, like that's like, you know, like a horrible thing. Like, oh, I was such bad footage because I was shaking. I was like mumbling. Nobody stands there like that. Nobody stands in the pocket. People run. People don't stand that long. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like at one point, you know, like at one point he's like, Mike, are we okay? And like I'm like, yeah, like I'm like trying to like, calm him, but I put my hand on his back and he jumps out of his skin because we can't see nothing. You can't see anything. So you don't know it's me. But like, I'm like reaching for him, kind of like, you know what I mean? And when I actually touch him, like, it's like,
I'm filming Krista, right? And I'm locked
Right.
onto this.
when you're in that night vision,
It's pitch black, but in the night vision, that little 2-inch frame's lit up like daytime.
Mhm.
Behind me, and a few minutes into the encounter, he touches me on my back, and I
Yeah.
literally jump like 5.
Right.
Oh my god, it's behind me! I got so
Right.
terrified because I didn't know if
Right.
another one came. I didn't really know how far he was to me, how close. I didn't know if something else came out from behind and was going to grab
Sure.
me. I was shook. I'm,
Sure.
and I always would tell Mike, if we ever come across one, I'm running out into the woods after that thing. I'm gonna go grab it. I'm gonna get the best footage.
Mhm.
Not happening.
You don't know until something like that happens to you that's life changing. You
It's
really
life
don't know what
changing.
your
It
reaction.
really is. It
I
really is.
get that every day. Why didn't you go closer? Why didn't you run at it?
Not happening.
I give them their space. If I don't care, I don't close the gap. That's on them.
I don't think people that want to, people that even do Bigfoot research that never had the opportunity to witness one, in the wild, when you see the sheer monstrosity of this thing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and you see how tiny you are and feeble next to this monster, there's
Mhm.
no way you're going up next to that thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for that. It figures a live show. The guys, I tell my people, I work till like 3:00. And of course, they charged me $40 more than normal. And so I had to go through, why the hell is this $40 extra for fertilizer? I said, I do my own fertilization, man. So I said, look, I can't argue with you. Here, have a nice tip. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So sorry. But, so
Right.
sorry. But,
That's all
Anthony,
right.
you bring up a great point, man. Again, talking from my own personal experience, to see the sheer size,
Yeah.
and I realize what a small man I am, or human being. The processing for you had to been, where was your thought? Where was your head at? Because
Sure.
I know you're thinking this is what I thought. This thing could grab me by the head and
Might
just
be like a twig.
crush me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm still processing it, to be honest.
Yeah, right. No, it's going to take a
Because,
while.
like, where do they hide? Where do they go? Are they really I mean, I'm thinking are they really interdimensional? Is that why we don't see them? Do they really vanish just somewhere in the woods? Why is there no bones?
Mhm.
Why do we never find a body
Right.
part from when they fight with a wolf or a bear or something like that? Just
Oh
I
yeah.
can't wrap my head around it. Like, how are we afforded the opportunity to see something like that and film it? But other people that spend their whole lives out in the forest just don't. I still can't wrap my head around it. How many of them are actually left out in the wilderness? Are there hundreds? Are there handfuls? Are there thousands?
Don't see, like, what I always suggest is don't skip right to the big picture. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
like that's what a lot of people do, right? They have that, and now they need all the answers all the way to the end. But obviously, we don't have them yet, right? So like I just try to like go out and just be the student every single time, and just say, hey, what's next? Like, what can you show me now? Like,
Mike.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Mike, to your point, I agree with you, and Anthony. And here's the thing, and Anthony, you're talking about, and this is what went through my mind, because we all talk about the flesh and blood versus the woo. If you want to use that term, that's everyone knows what the woo is.
Of course.
It's like, how can something 9 foot tall, 8 foot, 9 foot tall, 4 foot wide,
Right.
how can they stay unnoticed? Now, obviously, many people have come across and seen Bigfoot. I get that, but they're so big. How do they stay hidden? I mean, to me, there's something. They're not just flesh and blood, you guys.
Yeah,
It's
no,
my
we're missing
opinion.
Yeah.
I think that there's something
Yeah, of course.
spiritual. I hate to say paranormal because I always associate that with other things, but supernatural. I mean, Ron Moorhead, I always say this, and I'm always redundant. 20 years ago, when I talked to him several months ago, Rob, 20 years ago, if you'd have said, hey, Rob, if I'd have told Ron Moorhead, I think that Bigfoot is interdimensional. How do they go from point A to point B so fast? How they appear, disappear? How do we walk past them and not see them?
Correct.
He told me that I would have turned you around and said, young man, go home. They are flesh and blood. 20 years later, Ron says, oh, they're definitely the woo.
Well,
There's something about them. The quantum mechanics.
That's why Ron is the best example for how you should be, because he's been in it for what, 50 plus years, and he stayed true to just going with what happens.
Yes.
And no matter what his mindset was the day before, he's always advancing and just being open to what's next, right?
Sure.
And like people come at me all the time, like, "Oh, that shit is crazy. Like, why do you talk about that stuff?" I don't talk about it like because I just decided one day, "Oh, I'm gonna make up this crazy ass story." No, like I'm going where it takes me. Like I wish it was as simple as, "Hey, it's hide and seek." Like I wish it was, but it's not. Mm-hmm. That's where it's taken me. Like I'm just going with. But Ron Moorhead is a perfect template in my opinion too.
I had the opportunity to interview Ron Moorhead like 2 months ago.
Yes,
Prior to going out and doing this, and I think that I think everything happens for a reason. It was like almost like everything was put in my path before this adventure happened. You know, I got to hang out with Ron Moorhead and learn, everything he has to say. You and I had gotten the opportunity to talk, Rob and Tex and I've got an opportunity to learn along the way, and being with Mike and just absorbing all this knowledge and locking it. And then when the situation happened, I might have been terrified, but while everything was unfolding, I was remembering everything that I was taught and trying to just stay still, not move, and just film the thing. I think the dumbest thing that I did, though, now that I think back, was I shined a laser pointer into the woods, right on it, to show Mike. I said, "It's right there. I gotta show the laser pointer." And I
so again, like I know exactly what's going on the whole time, but like he's trying to talk to me. He's like, "Mike, you see this?" And I'm just like, yeah, I got, like I looked through my night vision, and like I thought I filmed, but I was like, I'll just get a little bit of like backup, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna let him be, like I've been through it before, you know what I mean? A few too many times probably. So I'm like, I'm gonna let him have it, and I'm like, so I'm just kind of trying to be there for him. I'm not worried about looking at the Sasquatch. As weird as this sounds, right? But I'm like more trying to be there for him. And then I hear all the movement, so I'm like, crap. I'm like, but thank God he didn't hear all that stuff going on, because in my brain he was locked in. You know what I mean? Like almost telepathically, like locked in.
Well, let me throw this out to you guys, because Freaky Geek mentions this. One of our awesome subscribers and comes in chat all the time. I think she's with you too, Anthony. I see her in your chat. Freaky says, and I learned this some time ago. Now we talk about the portal theory, right? Mm-hmm. And how I was told by a couple other people that trees are actually like pathways, and they actually can provide portals. You ever hear the stories about Bigfoot kind of materialized out of a tree stump or a tree and just appeared, and then kind of disappeared back in the tree? So what's your thoughts? Do you think they're a tree, a living, breathing tree that's been around? Some of these trees, especially in the Pacific Northwest, and even really where we all live, have been there for 300, 400, 500 years. They're ancient. Do you think that is a pathway for some of these ins and outs, disappearances, the cloaking? Because I'm a believer that, there's something mysterious about the tree. Yeah. It might sound crazy, but you know what? This subject is crazy, right?
It is, yeah.
Not crazy at all. Like, I actually have concrete stuff, but I'm going to let Anthony answer this one.
When you think about it, right, the tree structures, the Y formations they make with the trees, the TPs, the X's, the branch going this way, meaning not they don't want you going that way, or the opposite way, don't go down our road this way, or whatever. They all have meaning, right? So who am I to say that that's not a plausible thing that could possibly be happening, right? I'm no scientist. I don't know. I'm a Daisy Fresh rookie. Could it be? Definitely, because there's everything I've seen on my journey between paranormal, extraterrestrial craft in the sky that are there 1 minute in physical form and then vanish. Anything is possible today. I don't turn away anything, and especially now that NASA came out, and we know for a fact there's 11 parallel dimensions that sit in our Earth. Like, God only knows what comes in and out. And now you got the military studying these things and all these other agencies studying. They're all coming out finally saying it's all real. So I think it's a very plausible scenario that these things could very well materialize and dematerialize into the forest somehow. If trees, very possible.
Yeah.
You mentioned something pretty cool, Anthony. And again, not to. I'd like to focus on your guys more about your expedition. I got more pictures to show later, but you mentioned because Anthony on your show, you always bring up the government especially with ufology, aliens, and you do it all the time on your show. Everyone subscribe, Unidentified S4. So that the military knows about ufology, UFOs. So do you think, in contrast, that the military also knows about Bigfoot and cryptids, but they're even there's less disclosure with the government with cryptids than there are really with UFOs, in my opinion. Correct? Right or wrong?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. I think they know. I think they know a lot more than we give them credit for. I think they play stupid. They know everything that's going on. Okay.
Right.
If the four of us went to like a fish and game wildlife office, and went and told them an encounter that we just had, and we said, "You need to come back with us. This just happened. You could catch up with it right now." They wouldn't come. Why is that? Why is that? Because they already know. They don't need us to tell them. Those guys and girls are out in the forest 24/7. They know what's out there. They see it. They just want to keep it hushed up for some reason.
But it's their job it's those people's job I always say, I say that in mine, it's those people's job to cut all the structures that are made near the path. You won't find any structures that are close to a path because that is
Andy made the Bigfoot tree for you.
Oh, that's cool.
Now look at that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, he's
like
quick. Good job, Gambino.
But yeah, the tree structures, as far as that's what the bend and tucks are, and the tree snaps. They're keeping them alive, Rob. They're snapping them because they're still attached and still alive, keeping the energy flow. You know what I mean? And then the bend and tucks, they're keeping them alive, and they're connecting the whole entire forest. And sometimes it's through the mycelium underground, but the bends connect that tree to that tree, and then it connects. And you know what I mean? They're masters of energy, so they're kind of free flowing through that. And absolutely, they live in those trees. Absolutely, big, small, little, tiny.
They have scientists out in the field right now where they're taking these two electrodes and they're clipping them to one tree leaf and then to another tree leaf. And those electrodes are hooked up to a sound box. And you can literally hear the sound of the energy that the tree leaves make. They do the same thing with the roots from the trees. They almost play a music. And you can look that up. They're alive. These are living, breathing things. It's a living, breathing organism. So God only knows what it's capable of doing. If I like to think, what was that movie, Avatar? Remember they went and they connected to the tree and they were able to see their past and all of that stuff, all their ancient relatives. Who's to say that, maybe one of these forest beings can or cannot do that in real life? We don't know. We're ignorant to say that can't happen.
And and the more I do this stuff too, you mentioned forest beings, and I know you guys are probably, I know Mike knows about this. Maybe you do too, Anthony. But the elementals, right?
Oh, yeah.
Those are
brought it up there. It was like, nah. But then it starts to unfold, right?
Yeah, you see things you can't explain.
When I just started doing this, you guys, I'm thinking just Bigfoot. Just Bigfoot, some creature, right? That roams the forest. Flesh and blood. Yeah, no, I was that way, prior, of course, to my encounter.
Yeah.
But now, that's what I love about this, because you got the elementals, the other beings in the forest. You got the orbs. Okay, an orb appears, so then all of a sudden a Bigfoot appears, or a UFO sighting was made 5 minutes after. To me, everything is connected. I think all these things are they're on the same plane, right? The same realm, I do believe.
Yeah, I think, Rob, we're the only ones that are on the outside, to be honest with you.
How about this? And I really wish, I'm so upset that we can't even show anything, but we were out again. The whole time we were there, we were in the woods. Every time we had free time, we were out in the woods. And we went out again at night. I think we went out like at midnight after we came back from a whole day out with the UFO stuff. And we're out on the trail, and it was cloudy, and we got a couple miles in, and all of a sudden the trees open up and the clouds open up.
Yeah.
And pitch black. Stars are just in abundance, beautiful. And Mike out of nowhere goes, "Look at this!" And just an orb, like a craft in the sky, just starts shooting slowly, and then just takes off. So we start actually filming the sky for like an hour while the clouds dissipated, and we filmed a whole bunch of these objects in the sky while we were out doing Bigfoot research. It was amazing. I mean, it was
And
like,
listen, so mind you, here's the most amazing part. Here's the most amazing part to me, guys, and I want you guys to hear this part, right? So we went. He had that when we went up to Pine Bush. We stayed a little ways off, right? So this place was, as the crow flies, probably 10 miles north of Pine Bush. So, and we're on the outskirts of it. So everybody's in Pine Bush doing the UFO thing, right? Where it's a popular hotspot. And so we're there. He has his encounter with Sasquatch the day one, and then he still goes out there the next night and the night after. And that is the most impressive part to me, is that he went back out there and not even to the same spot. So to stand out there and like in the pitch black and like look at the sky and stuff, because like I'm looking around, like sometimes, you hear something going on and there's coyotes screaming and God knows what else going on, and there's lights on the ground and then there's lights in the woods and nothing's supposed to be there. You know what I mean? So he was he was a
video I
trooper.
put down there is
And
not copyrighted. It's not on YouTube. It's not copyrighted.
You know what? I've seen it, Anthony. But do we have to meet our radio 5-minute break, because we're also on the radio? So we have to give a 5-minute advertisement. Sure. We will be back. They got to do their thing, but we will. Don't go anywhere. Subscribe to Unidentified S4. Subscribe to Long Island Mike. I think Lily's got the chat, the links, and the links are also in my channel. We will be back to continue this fantastic, two great guests, Anthony and Mike. We'll be back at 5.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. Three minutes. We're almost there. Two-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. 1 minute. 1 minute.
Hello, we are back. Welcome to Brunch with Bigfoot, Michigan Rob. I, of course, am BMR, your host. Fantastic show. Anthony, Unidentified S4, Long Island Mike Bigfoot joins us about their encounters with their experience in the woods that they took on a Bigfoot research outing. Fantastic show. A couple changes to our lineup. As you all know, you've got to subscribe to Bigfoot Michigan Rob on YouTube, Texas Front Porch on YouTube, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast on YouTube, Jason McLean, Questions Everything, and Van Buren Variety, as we no longer stream on each other's channels. So when you have the show, if it's Texas show, go to Tex. Rob show, go to Rob. Krista and Brandy, go to them, because that's what we had to do, which is not a big deal. Everybody now can be in one big chat room, which is kind of cool. So there's the positives and the negatives to all of it. Mondays is Texas Front Porch, 9 o'clock in the East. Tuesday, Van Buren Variety, 8 o'clock in the East. Beyond BMR, 9 o'clock in the East. Jason McLean does something called Mysterious Library on Untold Radio AM. Go check out Jason at Tuesday at 10 of these. Wednesdays, a new show replacing the Jason McLean Live is the Diva Dimension. Danielle Diva, 10 of these, new to the Texas Front Porch channel. Check out Danielle. Wednesdays at 10 of these. Thursdays is right back here with Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, 1 o'clock in the East. Tonight, the Blondes, the Booze, the Paranormal Podcast, 9 in the East. Again, go to the Booze. You're not going to find them on Texas channel. Same thing on Friday. They bring the element of the woo on Friday nights at 9. The Blondes, the Booze, Paranormal Podcast, Fridays, again, 9 in the East on their channel, the Blondes and the Booze Paranormal Podcast. Please subscribe. Tex on Texas Front Porch, 3 of the East on Saturday, is Infamous Minds. Danielle Diva and Tex, they break down true crime and unsolved murders. That is fantastic. If you are into true crime, please check them out. And my buddy Jessica Jones, you can always find, I always got to give Jessica some props. You can find her on Space Style Radio Saturday and Sunday at 10 in the East. And of course, she is the Cryptid Huntress. And of course, you can find her on her YouTube channel. And she does have some daytime shows. The links for Anthony, the links for Long Island Mike are in the chat, in the description on YouTube, excuse me. So please subscribe to them if not already. Fantastic show. And I'm bringing up everybody. And of course, the super chat is open for those of you that care to donate. I would appreciate, helps out the channel immensely. I'm going to bring everybody up. There's, wow, Krista.
I'm awfully big on my screen.
You're awfully big on the screen. What's going on here?
I don't know. I'm getting
There's
smaller.
Mike, and here's Anthony. Yeah, I know what happened there. Hey, you guys, fantastic show. I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy schedule for joining.
I do have some questions for you guys. So Brandy and I, we go to the Land Between the Lakes and we do our stuff out there. The very first time we were there, we seen what you had described as something peeking behind trees. after that, there was about, I don't know, 10, 12 of us. And throughout the whole evening, we were seeing orbs, not in the sky. They were in the tree lines. And we were the only ones out there at the time. This was middle of January. It was cold. And did you guys witness anything? I know you had said in the skies, but did in the tree lines or
We have it on camera in the tree line above that lake, on the walkway in and out. There was red orbs. Mike seen red, white. It was weird, gold. We filmed them all, but small, not big ones.
Yeah. Well, see, same thing with us. We had different sizes. And it was, several of us would see them at the same time. Some people saw white ones. There was blue ones. I personally seen, actually, it was a pretty good size one. It was a reddish orangish, and it was the size of a beach ball.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
we actually live streamed the next couple adventures into the place where we initially saw the Sasquatch, right? And on the live streams, you literally see those orbs all around the place. It was really weird. And it was cool out when we were up there. I mean, it's still cool now. I'm in New York today. It's like 40 degrees. It's crazy, this weather. But it was cold up there at night. We were like bundled up. It was like, I don't know, 39, 40 degrees when we were out. So it's not like it was they were light. If anybody wants to say, lightning bugs or some kind of bug.
Right.
It wasn't any of that.
Yeah. And I understand that because, it was the same with us. This was middle of January in Missouri, and we get cold.
You're right.
It was in probably the mid-20s for us. So yeah. I was curious about that because you hear a lot of that, and that's where it goes back to the woo thing.
Yeah. Are they dematerializing and taking another form and going from one place to another? I don't know, but
and here was my thing too. Is like when we seen the creatures with our eyes from behind the trees, it was back a little distance. However, the orbs were coming close. So my question is, were they morphing into the orb to come closer to look at us, or
Great question. I don't know. I don't have an answer, but the orbs were
just
present.
Stuff that runs through my mind. I was just thinking out loud,
Sure.
We can talk later, Krista, if you want. I mean, I can go all day with you.
There's so many things to unfold. Again, we could do a 5-hour show, you guys, literally.
Easy.
Yeah.
Anthony, you did put up this picture you sent over. I'm going to add this, and we can talk about this. I know I got to add it here.
Here's one. Oh, this is when the sky opened up while we were out on the hunt. This just started happening. I mean, the minute the sky opened up.
Wow.
Where'd it go? Look at that thing falling.
Oh, there it goes. That one.
Fast.
Look at that. That is wild, man.
It almost looks
Very fast, man.
Look at the colors.
Wow.
And what does that in the background change?
That just took off.
Just a star. This is color night vision. So
okay.
the stars twinkling. It's just just highlighting the.
Okay. Well, I'm going to play that real quick one more time.
Yeah.
Here's one.
Is that your laser pointer?
Yeah, same one I shined on the Bigfoot.
Yeah. Oh God, you're lucky that he didn't attack.
Yeah, now I realize that.
It's not like
Hanging
that.
at
That's
him.
pretty neat.
Very fast, man.
This is what we're
Wow.
using. So
That
this
just
is-
took off.
But
That's what you look through. That's what you're looking through.
right.
Okay.
We're
Now,
looking- and then this opens up the whole forest, right? So your eye is in this monocular in the pitch black, and then you'll see something on it, and then you have to come out of that and back into pitch darkness and know everything can see you. It's a very humbling and intense experience.
Sure is.
wow.
that was I like that.
We even
That was
took
pretty
FLIR
cool.
cameras with us to film the following night to see if we could see anything that we didn't see the night before with night vision. Maybe FLIR would enhance, but the brush is just so dense. I mean, I sent you a sample that's not copyrighted FLIR footage. If you want to show it, you won't get jammed up. But I mean, you really, in the summertime, you really can't see anything in the forest with FLIR very well. It's just too forest is too dense.
Yeah.
Well, the trees never really cool down either.
Yeah.
It just It makes it a little
Rocks, trees,
difficult.
everything absorbing the heat. It's very difficult. Now in the wintertime, I will try again. That might be a different scenario with flare cameras. But we like to use every advantage in our arsenal to try to catch whatever we can. You know, if we have it, we're going to use it.
No, well, I 100%
It
agree.
don't hurt to try. Yeah.
Right, don't hurt to try.
I've got well, Anthony, you did send me some other pictures. I'm going to zip through some of these, and you can tell the story behind these.
Sure.
And they're not in a particular order. It's probably in reverse order what you sent
That's
me.
all right.
So
No big deal. So this is in North Carolina. That's actually a Sasquatch print that Mike stumbled upon that was 18 inches long. It's about 4.5, 5 inches deep. And where my fingers are right now, I actually got my fingers in his toes.
okay,
Wow.
And the greatest thing about that print was in the middle of it was a mid-tarsal break. So you actually felt
yeah,
the heel, then the mid-tarsal break, then the front widens up, and then all the toes were there. It was beautiful. I wish I had plaster to cast it, but we didn't bring it. I didn't even think to bring that. I will have it in my arsenal next time. But yeah, there was a couple really cool prints there. There's another one to the left of it, but it was really difficult to see. Was there, and then a couple feet in front, there's another one, almost in a straight line in front of it. And
Okay.
I wanted to really make sure this wasn't a bear that double stepped. And there was no nail prints, no dread prints. The toes were like perfectly rounded, like almost like human toes, but 10 times the size.
All right, cool.
so-
Yeah, and I can definitely see the outline of. I can definitely, for me again, I can definitely see a foot.
Oh, yeah.
I can see it looks like a huge foot.
Yeah.
And now this really quick is just pretty much outlines the map of where you guys
That's where
were.
we were. Where that big pin is, that's exactly the trail where we were.
Okay, and then we're going.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
No,
I
not
never-
at that point we were. Oh, we were in North Carolina with that one.
No,
I
I'm
think.
not here for this one. This was the pine bush. I'm sorry, the Catskills. That's where that pin is. The photos with the prints, those are the Catskills. Those are North Carolina. Sorry.
Yeah, we were in the Smoky Mountains. Yeah.
And I think like most people, when I think New York, I think Manhattan, right? I
Mhm.
think Empire State Building, Statue of Liberty, but right here, when you look in, that's upstate New York.
Mhm.
That entire upstate New York is all green, man. So I'd never realized the immense forest that is in upstate New York.
Oh, it's forget.
Well,
and-
that around that state park is the biggest state park there is. Like you could put Yellowstone in it, Glacier in it, and still have plenty of room left over.
And every
Yeah.
dot you're looking on that map is a Sasquatch sighting. The red ones are more abundant. The yellow ones are less. The green ones are getting more. The blue are getting more. The black are few and far between. But you can even see, like where Mike is in Long Island, look at all the red dots.
I was
Right.
about to say the red dots is a Sasquatch sighting,
Those are multiple Sasquatch sightings in the
I
same
mean-
location.
and that's like 10 miles from Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah, there's been a lot in Nassau County, which I don't even touch. I only do Suffolk on the east end, but I mean, I get reports all the time, and people like whatever. People don't want to be known for it. You know what I mean? They're just like, "Hey, thanks for doing what you do, but like, leave us out of it."
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
I got it. Here's another one I'm gonna pull up here.
okay. This
Now-
one, this after reviewing the footage again, Mike and I are the only two here in the woods. And I mean, what does that look like to you? It looks like the shape of a figure of a humanoid. Somebody.
I must say, again, and of course, me and Chris always joke, and I'm not joking with you guys. Oh boy, somebody with the circle. Well, let me tell you, and I'm kidding, I'm kidding, of course. But you know what, man? I look at that. You didn't even need the circle on that. I can definitely see a
Yeah.
humanoid.
I
Right?
agree.
I mean, it stands
There's
out to
something
me.
there. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, I see a body, I see a head, I see shoulders, and I see actually legs and a foot.
I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, but I know we were alone in that forest. We
I
have
mean,
the
yeah.
whole thing filmed. Nobody's there till we walk out. There's
Yeah.
not one human being in there till we walk out.
I mean, you
I
can
know
even
it's
look at this, and you can see where the head is, and you can see like
Yeah.
a nose. I mean, you can see a nose.
Yeah.
Well, the place was called Never Sink Unique Area. That's what it's called, unique area. Like when you look it up, and I'm like, I've never heard of a unique area like state parks, preserves. I'm like, what the hell is a unique area?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we got to go see this for ourselves. You know what I mean? And it was closed. Like obviously you could walk in anytime you want, but it had like hours to it, where like it was like they don't want you in there at night, and I'm like, oh, there's got to be something to this place.
Man.
There's beautiful
Wow.
waterfalls. There's actually photos in there you'll see of me staring at the woods, and he's taking pictures of me because I'm actually telling him there's something in the woods right there. And I just don't know where it's coming from. And I'm like standing there like an idiot for like 10, 15 minutes.
So the Phantom footsteps.
There it is. And he's like, you're never going to find it. It's never going to let you see it unless it wants you to see it.
But it was
Yeah, well,
Phantom
yeah.
Yeah, but the Phantom footsteps were like sprinting past him and like really screwing with him. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't getting the activity, so I was kind of like just hanging back watching and like enjoying that, watching him like kind of, you know, when you get that whiplash because you keep looking everywhere because you hear stuff.
No. Well, I tell you what, I had to put this back up a second time because Kristen knows me. If guest sends me a picture, I will, out of courtesy, I will put it up and have them explain it. But I will say this, in all honesty, all sincerity, that is a capture. That's a cool capture. That
Great
is.
picture.
I can't say what it is, but I
Yeah.
can tell you what it is. It's not a human.
Mhm.
It's too big.
Yeah, it's about 3.5, 4 foot wide, for God's sake.
It's
Definitely
crazy.
not a bear.
No,
It
it's
ain't
not
no
a bear. It's not a bear.
Mm-mm.
Actually, if you look to the right, you'll see a black mass like laying down.
I
I
do
see
see
that.
that.
I do see
Pointed
that.
ears. Now, I didn't circle that because I didn't know if that was a black bear or not. But the head with the two pointed ears certainly looks like it could be.
I was gonna, it's funny you say that. I was going to mention what you thought that was. Then of course,
Yeah.
or it could be an opening, but it's not an opening to darkness, you guys. That's the
It's a
thing.
black mass that's just
No, it's something there. It's not the bad. It's not the like a tree facing us, like a down tree facing us. It's something.
And
yeah,
even,
weird.
and if I'm going to go out on a limb, even, and this I'm speculate on, but if you look to the far left, you got another black mass sitting down there,
Yeah,
kind
I
of
see that
squatted
too.
down.
I see that too.
That's more. It's not as distinguished as the other two
Yeah.
black objects, so that could be nothing. But
Mind you, this is just one screenshot of like hours of footage. So
Oh, right. Yeah. I mean, you can analyze this video.
I seen a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff, but I didn't like. I kept my input out of this whole thing. You know what I mean?
I wanted to see where my mind went with everything.
But yeah, I still do because it's gonna continue to unfold. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna continue.
My mind.
okay, what do we
Everything
have
that
going
was
on here now?
Those are the two that I seen behind the tree there. That was a down tree, and we kept hearing what sounded like something sprinting up to this tree that was down, blocking the whole wood line, because this was like 60, 70 foot long trees that were down. And you keep hearing something running up to it with full force and then just stop on the dime. So I decided to just stop and film here. And upon reviewing the footage, I got those two images that I've seen that I swear could be. I don't know, because this is after the fact. I'm noticing it could be Sasquatch. It very well could be.
It could be because and again, it could be. And then the thing about the picture is there's two distinctively different. The color is distinctly
Different
different than everything else around it.
And the outline of it, matches head and upper torso.
Eyes. Yep.
And everything we know that these things have no neck, so it's just head and tracks into the upper shoulder body. So
And if you do look at the center picture, it looks like a head. It could have swelled down into a shoulder area.
right.
And then it looks like it's actually a light brown color, which could be blending into that log. I don't know, but again, we just.
I mean, now we're talking all physical too, which is like, you know what I mean? Like
Yep.
then,
Right.
like my understanding is that they like blend and bend with everything. Like you have elementals, right? We always talk about elementals, and then the different elements, right? Earth, wind, fire, air. I mean, my understanding of Sasquatch is they are the multi-elemental. Like they can blend and bend with everything. You know what I mean? They can use all of them.
We touched on the elementals earlier about which are forest spirits, from my understanding. In fact, beyond BMR July 11th, That's gonna be a great show. Promote this show. It's Ronald Murphy. He's well, no one's an expert, but however, his study of research is in elementals,
Right.
and he's going to be on the show Tuesday night, July 11th at 9. We're going to be discussing that exact subject, the elementals. So
Right.
keep that in mind, everybody.
Hey, real quick, Rob, you actually have 2 super stickers.
Oh, I missed it. Well, I had the
You have
pictures
2
up.
of them.
Thank you.
Under
Everybody.
starred.
Well, thank you. Sugar Britches. Thank you so much. And where's the other?
Look under starred. It is Guardian.
Oh,
Thank
good
you, Guardian.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Guardian, Sugar, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. You guys rock. Everybody in chat rocks, whether regardless of the super chats or not. I love and appreciate you coming in and watching. Great show. We appreciate you subscribing to our channels across the board. BMR, Tax, Krista, and please do subscribe to Anthony and Mike. And the links are, of course, in the chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Hey Rob, I sent that picture to your messenger that Lily Palm was asking for. I sent it early.
That's what the forest looks like to us in clear, by the way.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
Oh shit.
What?
Never mind.
Talk.
It looked like an eye. It looked like an eyes jar, but it wasn't. That's where I would be, in these pines, because they have these thick branches that hang over, and then the stuff that falls down, like the trees.
See how hard it is to make anything out through the brush because it's just so thick.
Mm-hmm.
What? You got something on trail?
I it's probably my mind playing tricks on me. Right there, by that tree. I'm filming. I'm recording right now.
My shit is too dead now to reach.
But
That's where the rock landed, right next to that tree.
I think something went in.
I can't believe how dead my flashlight is, bro.
Don't forget, there's deers walking around, bobcats, mountain lions, bears.
Well, they wreak havoc on this
everything.
stuff, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. They can. They don't always, but they can. Yeah.
But that's just to show you what the terrain looks like to us. in
Yeah,
Florida.
that is pretty
They
cool.
don't need to take this energy. They don't need it. You know what I mean? Like spirits will drain it because they need it to do shit. To manifest. Like Sasquatch soak up. They're masters of energy. They soak
That,
that.
like,
They soak that shit
almost
up all
dead.
day.
You know what I love about this, you guys, is Mike and you guys conversing in the background
You have
while
a
this
battery
is
pack
running.
for it?
Yeah, of course.
It's pretty, oh, I know. I love it. It's sweet. Thanks. That is
Mind,
pretty sweet.
mind my mouth. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
It's just what you get. What you see is what you get.
You know, you're gonna be yourself. You gotta be yourself. You gotta be yourself, or don't be anybody, right?
That's it.
That's what I roll with. We got. Did we see this one? Yes. Okay, hang on. Here's the 2 happy fellas there. Okay. And we saw this. Did we see this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's Mike's foot in the print that's next to that print. It was like a side heel print.
Well, hell, Mike, your foot's bigger than Bigfoot's in that one.
It looks like it. Probably looks
Yeah,
like
look.
it.
It's not.
Oh, here's some. Okay. Okay. We saw.
Still shot from the night vision.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is pretty interesting. Oh, there you go, Anthony.
It was beautiful here, man.
This is did we see this one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm feeling the toes.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Oh, here's something different. What we got going on here?
I don't remember what I circled, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a dark mass in the middle. Could be anything, really. I gotta tell you, do make a nice symmetrical circles.
Yeah, it sure does.
Yeah. Hey, Mike. There you go.
Oh,
This was
Now,
great. We actually made a short video with this.
oh.
So in this down tree, there's a hole straight through it, right? So
Yeah.
Mike goes behind, and I'm just filming him, and he just like slowly raises up his head into the hole. And the voice that I play over it says, "I've just seen Bigfoot, and now he's walking away." And it like timed it perfect. His head starts walking away through the hole there. The video was just perfect to shoot him.
The audio, I can't believe how well the audio lined up to the stupidity that I did.
It was so funny. But this
So
was just a massive tree that came down, the root ball and everything.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is massive. That is like massive.
another print. So now there's horses that come through this trail. There's a lot of wild horses in here, a lot of deer, a lot of people, of course, coming through the trail, and right up there on that hilltop is where we found that print. Again, that's my fingers in the toes.
In the toes.
That's
No,
me
just
staring at the trees with the two masses in them that look like Sasquatch. And I'm telling him, I'm telling you, there's something there. I'm telling you right now, there's something there. And he's telling me, they're not going to let you see it if they don't want you to see it. Just come on. And I'm like, I'm not moving till I see it, I wasted like 15 minutes.
I must say I do love these action shots, and I like the background when you guys were talking here. And here's the last one you got here. Of course, there you are standing on top of a mini waterfall or a pond or a spring or something.
Yeah.
So you guys had it looks. I tell you what, you guys had a great time. It looks like.
Yeah.
Now, I know that this expedition, or you're having fun looking for Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So what are we missing on here? Because I know we talked about the encounter. Anything else you'd like to add? We've got about 8 more minutes before we have to wrap it up. So,
I mean,
anything eventful other than what you've spoken about right now you'd like to share with us?
Sure, but real quick before I share this, I just wanted to say, for me, I have to say everybody should get out into the wilderness and just reset your button. You know what I mean? For me, being up there we were basically out for about 3 weeks, almost a month in the field now, doing all these events and all this stuff out with Sasquatch and expeditions and hiking. And it's like I reset my whole mind. I put all my stress and aggravation at ease. Sometimes you just really need to go out into the woods and just clear your mind from the city and just reset. So if you can do it, definitely do it. Moving forward, coming up, I actually have a new documentary that's getting ready to come out. I really can't talk too much about it yet till everything's signed and done. But we're starting filming in about 3 weeks. It's called Extraterrestrial City, and hopefully it'll be out within the next couple months. So stay tuned for that. And then, of course, come check us out on the channel. We'd love to hang out with you.
Yeah, and is that the same, or is this a separate thing that I'm about to mention? Don't you have a part in a movie as well, or is this the documentary?
Yeah, no, I do. I actually got a part in a horror movie called "When a Demon Cries." I'm gonna get eaten by a guy who's a cannibal murderer. So that's going to be pretty cool. You can check that out on IMDb now. The film post is up there, so that's going to be pretty cool. And then on the 29th, I'm heading out to Roswell and then Area 51 to do some filming for the documentary. So I'll be out on the road filming for a couple weeks. So that's going to be really cool. We're really excited about that.
Yeah, so you are staying busy, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank God the channel picked up. The director for my film is actually Steven Spielberg's action director, Adam Richards. So we really got like an ace team working on this production. I'm really, really excited about it. It's gonna be really cool when it comes out.
Very cool.
This has been I got to thank each Mike, Anthony. I have to thank you for joining us on short notice. This is a great show. I thoroughly enjoyed this show, and again, I do enjoy Unidentified S4. And Mike, I enjoy your program. What I like about Mike LIB, and of course the links, of course, have been Lily's been throwing them out in chat, and so is Danny. Thank you guys. Subscribe to these two gentlemen. And Mike, what I want to say about your show, your live shows, I really watch them all. I don't comment on all of them. I'm not on all the live ones, but I tell you what, you are a boots on the ground researcher, man, and I respect what you do. And so thank you for providing your content. And of course, same to you, Anthony, man.
Yeah. Mike's a class act, man. I'm honestly,
he really is
like a brother. I'm blessed to know him. And of course, my partner, Andy Gambino.
Yeah, Andy. Yeah, hi, Andy.
Without Andy. And a big thank you to Danny Stanton, because we see Danny everywhere. He's always supporting all the channels.
I will give a shout out to Danny, because Danny's always in my chat room. I see him in Texas. I see him in the Blondes. I see him on Jessica's. He's a great guy, Danny. And Danny's got, Danny's Stanton, got to subscribe to Danny, because he's got like 10 channels. And it's like, and he don't care if he's monetized, because he shows my stuff all the time. Clips, which I don't, 5-second clips, so and I'm like, yeah, go ahead. So Danny promotes everybody.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Sure does.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's also a wrestling fan. He even has a wrestling channel, I think.
Sure does. He sends me a ton of comic books, man. He's a big comic book collector. He literally sent me some UFO comics that I've been looking for since childhood. And of course, Danny had them and he sent them. So I owe Danny.
Yeah.
He's a good
Hey,
dude.
Danny, if anyone, go check out Danny because he has got something where he lives. I think it's north of South Carolina. Sorry, Danny.
South Carolina. Greetings.
South.
South Carolina.
He's got, yeah. Greetings. Yeah. He's got something going on right outside where he lives. Because
Sure
if you
does.
don't, he's got some crazy growls, shadows going on. You got to check out Danny because literally, I usually catch Danny at 3 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I always put on Danny because he comes out late at night sometimes. Or I've watched a video and it's kind of spooky stuff what he has, man. So go check him out.
Got
And
that purple light. He's got that purple light out there.
Yeah, you know.
I love it.
I love it.
And I did want to thank Sugar Britches. Sugar, thanks for the
Sugar
super
Britches,
sticker. Thank you to Guardian. Guardian, a new subscriber. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
Thanks to
Guardian's
all the new
best, man.
subscribers. Thank you for bringing them on over too, Anthony.
Our
And again,
we love you, man.
subscribe to these two guys. Subscribe to the Blondes and Booze Paranormal Podcast. Bigfoot Bishop Rob, Texas Front Porch. Jason McLean questions everything as well.
Hey, real quick.
And yes, go ahead.
I'm really excited to see Texas' new documentary coming out. I just got a clip of that the other day, man. That looks incredible. Very exciting.
Oh yeah. Well,
Lily
Texas.
Pond. Here you go, Lily Pond.
Okay, here's the Lily Pond thing. That's the
They're like golden elementals.
Okay, now I see it. Yes,
Hard to see. I see what you're saying.
It looks like one's mowing a lawn or something, and then the other one's got a spear.
Are those the guys that were mowing Rob's lawn earlier there, Mike?
Yeah, it might be.
Hey, $40. I said, why are you charging me $40 more, guys? I can't argue with you. I got something. I'm working.
Right.
So I'll catch them next week when they come back, and I'll. But thanks for everybody for joining us in chat. Thanks for all the new subscribers. And of course, again, I don't want to reiterate, subscribe to our channels. Fantastic show. Tonight, Krista, what do you and Brandy got going on?
We have William Lunsford tonight.
Oh, yes. William Lunsford again.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Mindford. Good to see you. You're going to have to watch the replay.
Akashi, darling.
Akashi, I love Akashi. I was on Akashi show too. Akashi's another cool one. I could probably say something nice about everybody in chat, to be honest with you. Scott Morian, Sugar, Mindfork, Akashi, of course, lovely Lily, Freaky.
Mm-hmm.
The list goes on and on. We got great people in chat.
Yep.
Judy Wheeler, Raymond, a new subscriber, looks like. So thanks to everybody.
Yeah.
And yes, and so again, Krista, tonight you got your great show. And of course, you guys, Blondes and Booze Podcast, you'll find it on the Blondes and Booze Podcast, not text. Just them. That's what we're doing. We're not broken up.
No.
It's just just go to everyone's channel for their shows.
Yeah.
YouTube thing, we no longer stream on 3 platforms. We stream on our individual channels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way it goes. Starting today. We did it today. And you know what? I didn't lose any slack. I had about the same amount of people in chat than I would have normally. So it looks pretty good. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, most definitely.
So with that being said, I'm going to, as Tex would say, I got to find the
button.
Find the button. Thank you to Anthony. Thank you to Mike. Thank you to Krista, my wonderful co-host. Thanks to each and every single one of you in chat listening later and listening in the archives. Check out the archives. They're all a lot of great material. So again, for Anthony, for Mike, for Krista, I am BMR. And until next time, we are out.
See ya.
Later.